Hey, welcome to the Nursing Dose with your host, Dr. Laurent. Today, I want to talk to you guys about how to get unstuck from whatever it is that you're feeling stuck from, whether it's in your life, in your career, or in your business. And I developed a framework for growth, right? And it's called the Unstuck Framework. And why am I sharing this today? I actually had a friend that I went to nursing school. Shout out to her. I'm not going to say who it is, but I think she knows who I'm talking about if she happens to watch this. And she was telling me how much she hates her current situation. She doesn't like her current job, doesn't like the city where she's currently in. We've had multiple talks over the years about this. And she kept using the word, I feel stuck, and almost even saying that she's not sure if she wants to continue in the nursing profession, right? So this is kind of what has driven me to do this episode today. And of course, I talk about, a lot of my messaging is about personal growth, personal branding, development, business growth. I talk a lot about mindset and things like that. So that's why I decided to do this today and share this specific framework, because I know a lot of nurses, a lot of nursing students, experienced leaders, educators are currently going through the same situation, right? I actually felt stuck at one point in my career in the emergency department. I was there for about 13 years total, not at that one place, but just in various different positions working as an emergency nurse. And I was ready to transition to an educator position. However, it took me a good 2 years before I found an educator position after getting my master's in education. So, it happens to all of us, and there's just phases, but this is what I want to share this with you today. And for those who don't know me, I am a nurse career coach. I help nurses level up in their career, land their dream job in less than 90 days. And I help nursing students and new grads in the California area and in the New York area, right? A lot of nurses say it's these high competitive areas, but I help them land their dream job in less than 90 days through my various strategies and frameworks. And I am also the founder of International Nurse Coach, host of a conference called Nurses Making Business Moves, and also author of a book called Nurses Making Money Moves. And I also help aspiring nurse entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs get more visible, grow their personal brand so that they can attract more opportunities. All right, so let's get into this particular framework. And I'm going to share 5 pillars that first led me to design this framework, okay? And what's keeping you stuck, okay? Number 1 is your mindset. You are currently stuck in either a negative mindset, like negative self-talk, or in a state of lack, and you're in a scarcity mindset. So I talk to a lot of nurses, especially new graduate nurses. Let's say they've been applying for multiple months, maybe like 3-6 months. They are in a state of almost desperation. They've lost faith. They've lost trust that they can get what it is that they want, right? So they're marinating in a state of lack, meaning their mind, their thinking is constantly in the negative state, saying, I don't have enough opportunities. I can't get this job. I don't have enough experience to work here or there. No one wants to hire me. There's negative wheel of thoughts, negative self-talk, self-limiting beliefs that are now accumulating, and you are living and marinating in a state of lack. What you need to start doing is reframing that mindset and shifting it into an abundance mindset. An abundance mindset meaning a place of abundance where there is enough. There are enough opportunities out there. You will get a job. you will find what's right for you. And it's almost the law of attraction, right? The more positive thoughts you're putting out there, you are going to attract more of the same. So if you're grateful, you start with that gratitude, you're grateful that you have the opportunity, that you now have passed your NCLEX, or you're about to graduate, whatever that thing is. Be grateful. Start being more grateful for things, and more abundance will come to you. Shift that mindset to a more positive mindset and start thinking more positively, and you will attract more positivity. You will attract more opportunities. You will be open to receiving and open to more opportunities coming to you. Okay? When you live in that scarcity mindset, you're closed off. You are living in a desperate, fearful place. And that negativity is no good. All right. So number one is mindset. That's the biggest pillar. You need to reframe that mindset. Okay. And then number two, we talk a lot about this, in the last few years, it's become more popular, but really you have to have a good amount of emotional intelligence. You have to be able to manage your emotions. And I know it's very difficult. And the biggest emotion that I'm talking about is the emotion of fear. So many people experience fear, and it comes again from that negativity. Also, when you feel stuck, some people feel very anxious, worried, fearful, uncertain. So if you start managing those emotions, what you can start doing, once you start taking action, you become more clear about what it is that you want to do, and you take more action, the less anxious you're going to be, and the less fearful you're going to be, because people are afraid of change. Change is change. It's always going to happen. The more that you can manage that emotion, the more that you can adapt to change, the more successful you're going to be. The less unstuck you're going to feel, because you're going to be able to take risks. You're going to be to make quicker decisions and just act on it, right? So if you don't like your current situation, you have options. There are options for you. You may think you don't have options, but you have options. You're just not making any decisions. You're not taking action on it. And that's why you're feeling more stuck, more anxious, more uncertain. So you need to start taking action and making decisions, and start accepting change. That is the only way to grow, is to accept change, even when it's uncomfortable. Take the risk. I know it's risky to change a job. It's risky to change a city or whatever it is, but that is the only way you're going to grow. And when you start doing these things, you will not feel stuck anymore. In fact, you will feel the opposite. You will feel so empowered. It'll be freeing to you. You're going to feel so light, like you can do so much, right? Because you're now taking action and doing these, taking next steps. All right. If you happen to be watching, let me know where you're watching from, what city, what country. Drop any comments that you may have. Let me know if you're feeling unstuck and what has helped you overcome that feeling of feeling unstuck. And put any comments, questions, or tips that you have in the comments. Okay. So like I said, I'm currently sharing 5 pillars that will help you become unstuck. And then at the end, I will break down the unstuck framework that I developed. Okay, so number 1 was mindset, reframe. Number 2 was managing emotions. And look up emotional intelligence. If you don't know all the details, look that up. I don't have time to go through it today, but look up emotional intelligence and it'll go through what you really need to learn about it, okay? Number 3, this is very important. The reason you're feeling stuck is because of your current environment. So you need to change something in your environment. Whether it's in the environment that you live in, whether it's your family, your friends, the current place that you're working, maybe it's a toxic work environment. You need to make a shift in that environment, change your setting. Maybe you're currently working at home and it's not working, then maybe you need to get a space where you can work outside of home. Whatever that is, so you can have more creativity, you can be more productive, or simply, if you don't like your current position, you need to leave it and find another job, especially if it's causing you physical illness. I know this firsthand because it's happened to me. When you are in a toxic workplace or situation, it becomes so bad, not only for your mental health, but for your physical health. And that is when you really need to make a change, because it's just going to get worse, right? If you're starting to have frequent headaches, abdominal pain, muscle aches, nausea, vomiting, it can really affect your mental health and physical health, to the point where even you have high blood pressure, palpitations, like all these things, right? So it is very important that you change your environment if it's physically causing you to be ill. Okay? You may not put two and two together, but that could be the reason, right? And then the circle that you surround yourself with, meaning friends, coworkers, whatever. If you have to remove yourself, maybe go take lunch outside by yourself, then do that, right? If you need to, focus on a certain project or whatever it is because you're getting too many distractions, do that. Okay. And a big thing that I find is just being outside in nature. There's research that shows it does help with your, obviously, physical health, mental health, if you're going out for walks and things like that. Okay. But the root of the issue, the cause of what's making you feel stuck, that needs to change. So whatever environment that's causing that, you need to remove yourself. And if that means changing jobs, looking for another job, starting a business, whatever it is you need to do, make it happen. Change the circle, whatever. Okay. Number 4, the reason you are feeling stuck is because you lack faith in yourself, or maybe you don't have a spiritual or faith base foundation, right? You have to believe in yourself. And if the foundation is not there, meaning if you don't have that clarity as to who you are, what you aspire to be, what impact you want to make, what problems you want to solve, what your values are, if you're not setting boundaries and things like that, it's going to be very hard. So you need a stable foundation. And for me, I say it's faith in yourself, faith in your dreams, faith in whatever you believe in, right? And stay grounded that way. And whenever you are clear on your purpose and what impact you want to make, you will then start to have more clarity into which direction you should go into. Okay? So that's what I mean. Do the spiritual work, do the hard work, internal work of finding out what it is that you want to do, because nobody can figure it out for you. But you can hire people, whether it's counseling, whether it's getting a coach, a mentor, multiple people, but you need to be able to have that guidance and stay rooted in faith. Okay, so that's number 4. And then, of course, back to that abundance and gratitude. That's what's going to get you unstuck. Okay, and then, of course, also, being of service to others, sometimes that helps as well. Okay, and then number 5, the last pillar, which is so important, is self-development, self-improvement, whatever you want to call it, education as the foundation of growth. If you are not learning, improving yourself, and I'm not talking about, yes, you can get certifications, you can get degrees, but guess what? Sometimes it's not about just continuously getting the next degree and the next certification. I was there. I thought getting my next certification degree is going to get me to where I wanted to be. Not necessarily true. You just have to be more in alignment. The answer is not like, oh, let me just be a nurse practitioner. Let me just be a doctor. Let me just be. Yes, it can give you more opportunities. It's great, but make sure you're in alignment. You know your purpose so that you make the correct next decisions. I'm a big advocate for education. I really believe in advanced education. Like I said, I got my doctorate, my master's in education. Highly, highly recommend. But make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons at the right time. And not everybody needs an advanced degree. Okay, so make sure that you're making the right decisions. However, you may not need more, education from an academic standpoint, but you constantly need to be learning. That is really my big message for self-improvement, whether it's reading books, listening to podcasts, going to conferences, talking to other people, joining masterminds. By the way, I'm having my business mastermind next week for aspiring nurse entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. It's going to be in Clearwater Beach. So look out for more of those types of events, which is great because you network, you're in community, and you're learning, right? So that is number 5. Education and self-improvement. Okay. And when I say education, self-improvement, also investing in yourself, meaning getting a coach, an advisor, whatever you want to call it, you need some type of guidance. Okay. And do not be afraid to make that investment. Because that is the only way for you to grow. Sometimes we can't see our next step because we're too much, in our own lives. So we need somebody from a different perspective, from someone from the outside to help direct us to see clearly. Okay. So that's what I do as a nurse career coach. I help nursing students, new graduate nurses find exactly the specialty area or whatever position they want to go into in nursing. And it doesn't have to be the hospital. It could be something outside the hospital, right? But I help them with that career guidance. Okay. And then I also help novice nurse entrepreneurs or aspiring nurse entrepreneurs because I was there 4 years ago. I didn't know how to start a business. I didn't know anything about marketing, nothing about sales. And again, I self-taught myself about business from reading books, podcasts, going to conferences, networking, going to business, expos and things like that. And mind you, also learning from other industries, not particularly just nursing. And that's why I decided to start my own conference called the Nurses Making Business Moves Conference, which is March 6th and 7th in Tampa, because I wanted to create a conference and a space and a community where nurses are not just learning from other nurses in business, but learning from other industries as well, such as finance, marketing, sales, because we need to learn from other industries. All right. So I'm going to quickly share my Unstuck framework with you. So it's basically the acronym Unstuck. So again, to capture everything that we talked about, U in the Unstuck framework stands for upgrade your mindset, right? So we talked about mindset and reframing. N stands for name your fears, right? So again, managing your emotions. And most people are stuck because they're fearful or they're not making the right decisions. So really address that fear, okay? S is surround yourself intentionally. So whether it's in your environment, your circle, you need to surround yourself intentionally and move with intention, okay? And then the T stands for trust and believe. Again, you need to be rooted in faith and belief in your goals, belief in whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? And have that strong belief system, that faith, spirituality, whatever you want to call it, and let it be rooted in abundance and gratitude. You have to be grateful, okay? And then and then back to that, please get out of that victim mentality. Okay? You can change your career. You can change your life. You are in charge to make decisions. Yes, there are some things that are out of our control, but you can make the decisions. You can make things happen. Okay? Stop with the victim mentality. All right? I know a lot of people have a lot of different things going on, a lot of, traumatic past issues, childhoods. I'm sure many of us have the same, right? But you need to do that work. And this is why I strongly suggest getting some type of therapy, whatever it is, talking to your doctor, because maybe it's something rooted in that. That's why you're having trouble, right? So very serious stuff. Definitely get some help if you need to. And that'll help you later on with your growth. All right. And then the U is unlock your clarity, right? Something is not right. And that's why you're not growing. That's what you're not moving forward. You're confused. You're not sure what your next move is. Then you need to unlock that clarity. Start reflecting. What is your purpose? What is your impact? What makes you happy? What type of life do you want to live? Figure that out first before you start looking at jobs or whatever, right? Figure out the home life. Where do you want to live? What city do you want to live? What country, whatever. Figure that stuff out first. And then worry about the job, the career, the business later. Okay? People try to do it backwards, but figure out you first and then the external. Okay? So you got to get that clarity. And then C is commit to growth. Again, we talked about education, improvement, continuous improvement. You have to commit to education and growth. And then again, we talked about managing your emotions and being able to handle change. You have to be able to adapt. All right. And then lastly, the unstuck, the K is keep going. You need consistency. Most people do not succeed because they quit too early, right? They want to start a business. They're like, yeah, I'm in this business. I'm coaching. I'm doing whatever. They're like, oh, I'm not getting clients. I'm not doing it. I'm like, well, you've only been doing it for like 2 months, right? Like, let's have some patience. Let's have some consistency. Let's put in the work before you quit too early, right? You have to be consistent. You have to keep going. You have to have that drive, that motivation. And you're only going to have that if you have clear purpose and if you have clear impact, like what impact you want to make. And most of the time, it's something that's helping other people. For me, my impact is to help the next generation of nurses with their career guidance, but it's more than that. It's to help them with that transformation of their mindset, transform their confidence so that we can have a next generation of nurses who are comfortable to advocate for themselves, the profession, their patients, their colleagues, and their communities. I want to help build a strong nursing workforce, and it starts with nursing students and new graduate nurses being clear about their career goals and how to enter the profession and to help them with that transition to practice. That is my contribution to nursing and to the industry, to the healthcare industry. Because if we don't have strong new graduate nurses who are able to adapt, who are able to advocate, and who are in the right environments and the right spaces that they want to be in to make their impact, it's going to be very complex, right? So we need to start with that foundation, and that's what I'm doing through my nurse career coaching. On the other aspect, I'm also helping aspiring nurse entrepreneurs and nurse entrepreneurs navigate the business space because we need nursing leaders, innovative entrepreneurs that will lead our profession forward, that will come up with, businesses that can drive healthcare forward or whatever it is that they're trying to do to make an impact in their way. Okay. So that's what I'm excited about. And this is why I've created, like I said, the unstuck framework. You shouldn't feel stuck for long, right? And it's okay to have a small time frame, but you have to figure it out. You can't just marinate and stay there too long, right? It's not good for your mental health. It's not good for your physical health. And nurses, you need to start seeing investing in yourself as return on investment, right? You will get that 10x whatever your investment is, right? So that's what I do for my new graduate nurses, right? And I actually just increased my coaching, my one-on-one coaching, because I want nurses in the program who are committed to growing and that see the value and who are going to do the work, right? Because when you invest in something, you are now committed. Someone's going to hold you accountable to do the things. So if you come into my coaching program, whether it's my business coaching program or my new graduate program, one-on-one coaching, my my clients already know I will hold you accountable. I will ask you the hard questions and I will make you do the work. I will give you the resources. I will be there to support you, but we're going to do this work because that's the only way to growth. All right. So if you would like to work with me, definitely reach out to me. I do have one-on-one consultations, paid consultations, because not doing this for free, right? Because I want to work with the right people who are ready to grow, high achievers that are ready to make things happen for themselves, right? So if you're a nursing student, highly recommend within 3 to 6 months that you are starting to apply for positions and getting yourself ready, right? Nurse entrepreneurs or aspiring nurse entrepreneurs, if you're thinking about starting a business, the time is now. There's never going to be the right time for anything. Start now. Start building a personal brand. Start creating content. The time is now. Okay. So, again, if you're interested in joining any of my events, the conference, the business mastermind, if you want to see other events from me, because a lot of people have been asking for virtual events, let me know. Just send me a direct message. I hope this was helpful for you. If you want to get this framework, I will send it to your inbox. Just DM me. And like I said, hope this was helpful, and I will talk to you very soon. All right, take care. Please subscribe to the Nursing Dose with Farah on YouTube and subscribe to my newsletters on LinkedIn. And also go to nursefarah.com and subscribe to my newsletter there as well. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.